Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Stories Without Labels, the podcast, where we explore neurodiversity through real talk, real stories, and a whole lot of heart. I'm your host, Sosa, children's book author, psychiatric nurse, and proud neurodivergent parent. Today's episode is a juicy one, and a super important one, too, I think. It's called Rethinking ADHD, Gender, and Beyond. Because let's be real, when we think of ADHD, what picture comes to mind? A little boy bouncing off the walls, right? But guess what? That image has left out a lot of people. Girls, women, gender diverse folks, even adults are often missed entirely. So today, we're flipping the script. Grab a cup of tea or get comfy on your walk or whatever you're doing, and let's rethink what ADHD really looks like. All right, let's start with the basics. What is ADHD, really? ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. But honestly, that name doesn't tell the whole story. It's not just about being hyper, it's about how the brain processes attention, motivation, and regulation. Think difficulty with focus, forgetfulness, emotional intensity, impulsivity, or yes, that classic restlessness. But what we don't talk about enough is how it shows up differently depending on gender, culture, and even age. So let's talk about gender differences. Here is a wild stat. ADHD is 3 times more likely to be diagnosed in boys than girls. But that doesn't mean boys have it more. It just means they're more likely to be noticed. And why? Because boys are often hyperactive. They act out, interrupt, climb things. But what about girls? They often have the inattentive type. They daydream, get lost in thought, or work extra hard to mask their struggles. They're typically labeled as chatty or sensitive instead of being seen as neurodivergent. And if you're a parent of a girl or gender diverse child who's struggling with attention, anxiety, or big emotions, please know that you're not alone. ADHD often hides behind labels like lazy, dramatic, or disorganized. And many girls don't get diagnosed until even high school or, worse yet, adulthood. Sometimes not until they're burnt out, anxious, or depressed. That's when they get diagnosed or discovered. That's a huge missed opportunity for support. Because early recognition can change everything. So let's talk about a quick story. This mom has a 9-year-old daughter that was always zoning out in class. Teachers said she was smart, but not trying hard enough. Turns out, her brain just worked differently. She wasn't being defiant. She was overwhelmed. And of course, after an ADHD diagnosis and some tailored supports, that same little girl is now thriving. She's drawing, she's reading, even helping her classmates stay on track because she now finally understands herself and her struggles. Okay, now here's where we go beyond gender. Because even among boys, ADHD doesn't look the same in every kid. Cultural expectations, family dynamics, and even language barriers can change how symptoms are seen or even hidden. For example, many Black, Indigenous, and racialized children are overdisciplined instead of supported. And gender diverse kids often face layers of misunderstanding that leave them undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. So the real question is, are we looking at the child's behavior or are we listening to the child's experience? Here's what I would like every parent to know. ADHD is not a character flaw. It's not about bad parenting. It's not just about boys, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It's just a different brain style with strengths and challenges. Some kids are innovative, creative, quick thinkers. Others may need more support with transitions, routines, or executive functioning. All of that is valid. And guess what? All of that is human. So, what can we do as parents? Well, let's start by observing, not judging. Ask open questions like, what's hard for you today? What helps you feel calm? Connect with professionals who understand neurodiversity, not just behavior. And most importantly, listen to your child. They are the experts on themselves. Before we wrap up, let's bust one more myth. ADHD is not just for kids. Millions of adults, especially women, are now realizing they've had ADHD their whole lives. They were just told they were messy, moody, or lazy. But in reality, they were masking, adapting, and surviving. So if this episode hits close to home for your child or maybe for you, know that it's never too late to understand yourself with kindness. Thanks for joining me for today's conversation, Rethinking ADHD, Gender, and Beyond. If this episode made you think differently, please follow, share, and leave a review. That's how we grow this community of understanding. And if you're looking for tools, children's books, or sensory-friendly resources, check out my website at www.storieswithoutlabels.com. I'll see you next time right here on Stories Without Labels, where every brain belongs.